Hi, so for my project, I am doing ash disease and more specifically, a fungal disease of ash called ash dieback, which originally originated, they believe, in Asia from the Manchurian ash and has spread to Europe, originating in Europe officially in Poland first, and then it spread across the continent until it has arrived in Ireland about 15 years ago. And it has massive implications for Ireland's environment. They believe in the UK it might remove 80% of the ash trees. In some countries, it's already removed above 90% in Eastern Europe. Um, so this will have massive implications for the Irish landscape. A huge amount of our trees are ash. As I look around the area around me, the most dominant species seems to be ash, at least in my area. So it'll have big implications to our landscape, to our biodiversity. Um, so yeah, like it's a big problem in the future, and it's important we study it so that we can um, come up with methods of preventing the spread and reducing the spread. So this tree here is actually one of the last few trees in my area um, that has leaves on it. Now it's important to note that we actually done our sampling um, quite early compared to other projects. We were advised to do it about a month ago so that we could do it with the trees leaves still intact, because a lot of the symptoms are on the leaves. So that's why we did it like that. So I guess one thing that'll be different to my video as opposed to other people's is I'll be showing you what we did in the field, maybe instead of actually doing it in the field. So hopefully I can give you a good idea of what we did. So we walked along, me and my buddy, as they say, um, we walked along roadsides, hedgerows, woodland, um, to record the ash trees. We tried to keep it 5 meters back. Now I'm a lot closer than that, unfortunately, here, because I need to actually give you an idea of the ash tree, the symptoms. It's quite hard to do just with the phone far back. So, but yeah, we try to keep a good distance away, not to spread the disease. At least 5 meters back. So yeah, and I'll try to show you some of the disease symptoms on this tree. Unfortunately, this tree is diseased, so it does have symptoms. And most of the trees in my area are actually diseased. So this is actually the more common. So I'm using the tripod to get closer to actually having to touch the tree. Hopefully you can see there's some black blotches on the leaves. And they're not normal. You might think that they are maybe associated with autumn, but they're really not. It's not something you would expect to have on an ash tree. Um, Ash trees, unlike many other tree species, is they don't change color in terms of the leaves. They stay green and they lose them still green, which means they have a lot of the nutrients still in there, which makes them quite important for the biology of the soil. Um, but yeah, other kind of symptoms you'll get is another one I'll show you here. This tree, I ranked this tree, well, I'll explain the ranking system in a minute, but this tree was ranked 2, so it doesn't have it's not too badly affected yet, but it already has, as you can see there, hopefully you can see it, kind of diamond shaped adhesions, and they are where the spores leave when they do go to spread, and the spores can travel up to 50 kilometers. Other symptoms you get on the diseased trees are dead branches. So first the small branches start to die, and then the large branches start to die, and the whole tree will start to die. You'll already also get a loss of foliage. This tree had loss of foliage. Right now though, it doesn't mean much, because they would already have lost foliage anyway by this time of year. But in the summer it did have quite an absence of foliage compared to what it usually should be. So that's a big thing. The colour of the bark will change when the tree does lose branches that die. And as I was mentioning earlier, I ranked this, I believe, a 2 or a 3. I can't remember exactly what it was, but at the time I ranked it 2 or 3 in terms of severity of symptoms. So here is the sheet that we use in the recording. So I'll bring it up to the phone to give you an idea. So the numbers here, that's the order of the recording. Then symptoms, that's yes or no. For symptoms, so yes has symptoms, no doesn't have symptoms. Basically asymptomatic, non-symptomatic. Or so Y is yes, N is no, just to kind of like speed it up. And then severity, so the severity was ranked from 1 to 5, 1 being minor symptoms, just has symptoms, might have the disease for a year or two, And then 5 is a dead tree, completely dead, succumb to symptoms. 4 is a partially dead tree or almost dead, most of the leaves are gone. And then 3 and 2, they're more of an intermediate. Maybe they've lost, 50% of the cover of leaves for 2, 75%, 80% cover loss for 3. So yeah, that's basically how we recorded. Now I also used the phone when it started raining, just so the ink wouldn't get wet. So that was also used in the recording. Also, binoculars were important for trying to be able to see the symptoms in the branches high up, especially when it was quite sunny. It was hard to get your eyes to see them, so that was important too. I'm thinking, is that it? Wrote down here on my phone other things I might need to mention. Oh yes, so high-vis jacket, that's very important, especially when it's darker in the evening like this. You want to be able to be visible for safety, especially because we did walk on roadsides, and I think I mentioned that. It could be wrong. It could have been in one of the previous takes of this video. I might have mentioned it, but just in case I didn't, we went roadsides, we did hedgerows, we did woodlands, fields, arable pastoral fields to kind of compare to see if the cattle would have an impact on the disease. Maybe they might spread it more. And then yes, also we took a picture of each tree, and that was important just to show the validity of the results, I suppose, to have the evidence. So look, you can make up results and just say, oh, that's what you got, but at least if you have the picture, you can kind of put the number you gave on the category with the picture, and it hopefully makes sense. So what we do is we just take a picture of the tree, and then once we have that, the very great thing about modern technology now is when you scroll up, just wait for it to load, you'll get this location here, and you click on that, and it'll actually show you a heat map of the trees that we sampled in the area. It gives you an idea there, and you can zoom in. So for example, go with this tree here, so you can actually see that tree, where it was in the area, where it was recorded on the map. And it also allows us to do the GPS location, which is important for our data, because what we really want to see here is how the distribution works. Is it more of a genetic type of distribution where diseased trees are affected more by genetics, or is it purely by proximity? So if you have a diseased tree, will all the neighboring trees then get the disease, or is it more kind of a random spread where only weak trees genetically might get it? So I think that basically sums up how we did the project. We tried to keep it simple as possible and not to overcomplicate it, so that we could specifically focus on how the distribution worked and collect a ton of samples and hopefully make the data very, very valid that way. So yeah, that was my video on my YAST project. Thank you very much for listening.